Okay.
Left.
Hello, people that are on the phone. Welcome. I think that we're good to go. Stace, are we good to go? So welcome everybody to the regular board meeting of November the 2nd of the Sunrise School Division, the Board of Trustees. I'm going to call our meeting to order, and we're going to have O Canada by Hazel Ridge School. Please stand if you can do so. Thank you to the students at Hazel Ridge School. We have a treaty acknowledgement, and I understand Trustee Barry is going to read that out for us.
We acknowledge the traditional land upon which Sunrise School Division resides as Treaty 1 territory. We honor our partnership with Canada's original peoples and respect the gifts of Indigenous history, culture, and language. We commit to moving forward in a partnership with our communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
Thanks, Trustee Barry. 2.1. Trustee Barry, can I get you to turn your mic off? Thanks. 2.1 is the adoption of our agenda. Be it resolved, the board approve the agenda. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Trustee Pachakowski, seconded by Trustee Duma. Questions to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 9-0. Thank you. 3.1 is Chair's comments. My apologies for being late, and I should have introduced people that are here in the room with us. So that anybody that's tuning in, we have Trustees Barry, Duma, Reed, Harris, Pachakowski, and myself here on the phone. We have Trustee Rowland, we have Trustee Inslee, and we have Trustee Nickel. As well in the room, we have Superintendent Timko, Secretary Treasurer Carlton, and Assistant Superintendent Julian. We have our board support is Stacy Bonato, and with us tonight in the room is that we have Lana Gardner. Thanks. My apologies, Lana. Lana Gardner is the principal of Hazel Ridge School, and she's going to be giving us a presentation shortly. A reminder to send all questions to scarlton@sunrisesd.ca, the name and address of sender to be included in the email. I do want to let you know is that we had an email from a parent we had a question from a parent last time that we got together. The parent, it was concerning Powerview School. Superintendent Timko had the principal contact the parent, and the questions were solved that way through the parent. Did you want to add anything to that, Cass? Okay. So I just wanted to share with the board is that that parent we did get a call from a parent. 3.2, I'm going to open up to the floor. Anybody want to share a story?
I'd like to share a story.
Go ahead, Trustee Nickel.
Yeah, on last week, White Mouse School had the whole week as a Spirit Week. This was their way of trying to get back to normal with the kids doing things dealing with Halloween, and they follow all the health rules, making sure they would distance themselves and wear a mask. But from what I understand when I was talking to the students afterwards on Friday night, that they seemed to enjoy the whole week. So kudos to the teachers, because the teachers did a lot of work putting on the Spirit Week.
Yeah, thanks, Don. I would imagine that there were a number of Halloween activities that went on in our schools, and I can tell you from being in schools, when Halloween goes on, it's a challenge for our staff. Kids love it. There's lots of activity going on. Kids are getting dressed up, staffs are getting dressed up, so kudos to certainly all of our schools, Don. You're right, for the activities that are going on. It is a fun time to see. It's also a pretty busy time, certainly for our staff, but it's great to see. Anyone else, comments? Share a story? Yeah, go ahead, Kath.
I have a share story from École Powerview School. So in the springtime, the province had a teacher idea fund, and Powerview School under Corey Reed and Kayla Bright-Schrecker put in a proposal for increasing literacy in early years, and they were approved for a grant of $2,422 so that they can start some of their literacy work in the early years. So bravo to the team there. I also was able to attend a celebration at Oakbank Elementary School, and I've left a copy for each of the trustees on your table. This is the book that was published by Ms. Latrofa's students, and they were able to gather today all around the gym, and they were able to get their very own copy of the book that they wrote. All of the names of the students are at the back on the back page. They also got a chance to share the story, and we're pretty excited about the fact that they're published authors. So thank you to Oakbank Elementary and the division for helping to publish their stories.
Thanks, Kath. Russ? Trustee Reed?
It's been 3 years, I believe, since the Centennial kids were allowed to have a Scare Hunger food drive for the food bank, and this year they were allowed to have it, so they went out and collected 600 pounds of food for the local food bank.
I also want to share a funny note, is that in Powerview School, they had a drama play, and they performed it for cohorts of classes, and Mr. Reed, the principal, was involved in it as the scary man, and he performed his duties very well. So thanks to Principal Reed for dressing up and being the scary man in the early years drama production in front of the students. Any other stories? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Trustee Pachikowski.
Thank you. So during the month of October at ERS, they have what they call Socktober, and I just want to note that they were able to collect over 1,000 pairs of socks to donate. Good work on the students and families at EBOS.
Last story. I'm wearing a tie today because my high school hockey team is starting to dress up, and they're making me look bad by not wearing ties coming to the games. So now I'm starting to put ties back on and try to stay warm. So if you kind of think it's a funky outfit, it's because I'm staying warm in arenas. But now I'm trying to make sure that I stay up with the boys. Thank you for that. We have a presentation from Hazel Ridge School. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to introduce.
Awesome. So from the Hazel Ridge Hounds, we have our principal, Ms. Lana Gardner, who is going to share with you some of the goings-on in Hazel Ridge School and the work that they are doing on their school plan. So I will not take any of your airtime, Lana. It's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lana Gardner, proud principal for the past 14 years at Hazel Ridge School. I'm Ms. Sloan. School goals. Hazel Ridge staff has recognized the importance for students to have a strong writing voice. Based on the data presented 2019-2020, 70% of the students achieved a 3 or a 4 on their junior report card writing mark. 30% of the students still need extra support with the variety of forms of writing, as well as revising and editing. So by June 2022, all K-5 students will demonstrate gains in their writing across all the content areas. Balanced literacy. So our school has decided on a common literacy block learning time. It creates a literacy-rich environment. Role modeling literacy strategies and best practices. Teachers are using many resources which have been purchased with our SBDM dollars, such as leveled guided reading books, magnetic letters, programs, and teacher resource books, just to name a few, to help to guide the next steps in their reading and writing goals. The gradual release of responsibility is a program of I Do. So teachers are role modeling and sharing thoughts in their thinking out loud when writing. We Do. Teachers and students are working collaboratively on the writing piece. You Do. Gradual release of responsibility with the writing steps. This structure helps to benefit all the learners in setting up that structure. It's amazing to watch. For an example, in a grade 1-2 class, they learn to write how-to books. And it builds on their prior knowledge. So it could be as simple as thing as, how do I make cereal in the morning? Or another one was, how to build a structure out of Lego, a building. There was another one that was about how to make a bird feeder. So they were collecting all their prior knowledge, and they went through each of those steps to create their books. And then when it was free time, you think they would be writing about different things. They took that structure and they created more books, and they put them into the school library as well as into their class libraries. So if any of you would like to read about how to build a bird feeder or anything else, you can sign them out at Hazelridge School. Teachers are scaffolding daily for students during guided reading and writing groups, building words, sentences, poems, and paragraphs. Rhyme magic, as I see, and reading reflex and words their way are different ways to support students to use the strategies in their reading and writing. Thanks to the great program leaders, Suzanne Dinspear, Joanna Captain, and clinician team for the sharing of these resources and their knowledge to grow our balanced literacy program. Rhyme Magic is based on, focuses on the rhyme, the vowels, and the consonant combinations that help drive word analysis. Reading Reflex is teaching to a code and creating anchor charts as students are learning. Words Their Way, I want to explain a little bit more, are hands-on word sorting approach to word study. It assists with teaching phonological awareness, alphabet knowledge, initial letter, sounds, concepts about print, and word and text. So earlier staff has started to use the online data this past year, and it's finding it very efficient way to collect that data and view that data as we see here. This data shows here that many of the students have initial and final consonants and short vowels in place in the white area. Some still have to work on their diagraphs and blends and long vowels, and others have to work as you get into the higher grades into their vowel combinations. So this is very rich data for creating the next steps in the lessons and the group work that has to happen in our literacy blocks as a team. So that's what we're using. Path to student learning outcomes. So teachers are providing meaningful writing opportunities. Students' performance and observations and conversations provide students with the next steps to student learning, as well as the class profiles and writing progressions show where they are in their group as a whole snapshot and then individual needs, where do we need to focus in those areas of need for each of the students. The literacy walkthroughs in the classroom is non-evaluative in nature, and it helps to build a sense of trust and communication, and it's supporting the classroom teacher on those next steps of where we need that feedback and where we need to show, such as the thing that we're working on is balance of whole group, small group, and one-on-one learning for students, and providing that effective feedback. Targeted PD support and collaboration is next, and staff in their PLCs group are learning and discussing new resources and assessments, strategies, programs, and a book study. There are scheduled collaboration times supported from the SBDM dollars and release time to work with program leaders during the Sunrise Literacy Project. A few specific classroom assessments are the EYETA kindergarten and the observational survey grade 1 and Words Their Way. All assist in the planning towards the path to student learning outcomes. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this one. This is observational survey. Each year, the grade 1-2 teacher assess all the grade 1 students, including the struggling students, to help to focus the instruction during literacy blocks and to build the guided reading, writing, and intervention groups that we have in place at Hazel Ridge. The data assists with identifying various areas of letter recognition, phonemic awareness, word and sentence building as well. With all that data in place, we come to an area of looking at a reading and writing intervention program that we've created. We do not have a reading recovery program at our school, so we created and adapted many resourceful strategies into our reading and writing intervention program to support the grade 1-5 students. The intervention and support for students with the staff is the classroom and the resource teacher and the EA and the educational assistants. We have groups of time, 5 times per cycle for 45 minutes for grade 1-2, 3 times per cycle, 45 minutes for grade 3-5. Students take home their level books and writing to practice at home. Communication, the cycle of support and feedback from the school and home is essential for students' growth. Our literacy block. The clinicians and educational assistants are supporting the teacher with the literacy, speech, fine motor goals throughout the literacy block. The speech and language pathologist, Kristen Medved, is targeting phonological awareness, vocabulary, grammar, and higher thinking skills once a week, and the EA speech comes in on another day to work on articulation. I want to thank you all for this extra support created from the Divisional Student Services team. Due to the collaboration staff and intervention plan followed through last year, we saw progress as writers. The 2020-21 writing data showed in June, the first term to the second term shows a slow growth in the writing from a 2 to a 3. Very small, but as the year progressed and our focus was there, our larger increase came from the second term to the third term, where students were moving from a 2 to a 3 and from a 3 to a 4 in their final term. So 36 students stayed the same due to higher expectations throughout the year, but 26 were higher and moved up, and 0 were lower. That works out to 42% of the students improved in their writing data from the first term to the third term. Strategies. From our data collected, we have added these strategies for 2021-2022. The novel study, Next Steps to Guided Reading by Jan Richardson. All staff will be reading, collaborating with this book throughout the year. Sunrise Literacy Project with Suzanne Ginspear and Joanna Kaftan is focused in the grade 1 and the grade 5, but includes a whole effort to improve writing at our school. Suzanne has come to inform and assist the other teachers as well at our school. Collaboration time throughout the year is scheduled to share and support our learning with Oakbank Elementary and Hazelridge staff. And temperature checks is essential to see what is needed and next steps for learning in our teaching sprints. So each sprint will be our writing focus for a 2-week block. Time will be provided to prepare and identify the practice strategy. Sprints, we'll practice and we'll adjust it, and then in the end review and reflect on that strategy. Benchmark data collection and next steps is focused on 3 areas. For our first term, we focused on personal narrative as a whole school. And the second term, we're focused on informational writing. And the third term, we're focused on letter writing. So what we do is we collect a baseline data for the first sample, and then we collect a final and a progression, and then they do a comparison, and they use their criteria to help to inform them on how they had improved over that period of writing. Authentic writing. So authentic writing, we inspire students to write with purpose. It's a powerful drive to engage the reader. How do we do that? Making a difference through writing is so powerful. It's a very powerful tool. Well, students supported the community both inside and outside our school by writing for different purposes. One was the Polar Bear Club. They started it and they got it. Frontline workers and care homes they wrote to, kindness notes and thank you notes throughout the year. Chalkboard wind shelter, which you'll see a little bit more later on in another photo. And a rock climbing wall, which was supported by the divisional phys ed and school fundraising funds. These writing initiatives benefited the students' well-being mentally and physically. K-5 students were engaged and shared their different forms of writing throughout class, gallery walks, class and school libraries, through teams, through the Smartboard. The continued efforts of students and staff make us successful and very, very proud. The outdoor music wall leads us into our next passion for writing, which most recently was our persuasive letter to Mrs. Gardner. Inspired to create music, a music wall outside. Kids are designing and researching what items can be repurposed, are weather resistant, with a music tone so students can create music outside for them to enjoy. As one of the letters said, to have a party outside, to play and hear the chime. It was lovely. The problem solving and collaboration in research and the design behind this project is so enriching. I thank Mrs. McGregor for her dedication in leading this project and educating students in items that may be repurposed instead of just throwing them in a landfill, right? Staying active. Physical, mental, social, and emotional wellness is a must. These are just a few student-driven initiatives to upgrade the playground here in this picture. Students are enjoying the parts of their day, such as outdoor gym and recess, and tunnel and the bridge structure is always a love as the snow falls, and outdoor classroom, which was helped fundraised by the PAC, the Parent Council, Hazelridge Parent Council, and the school fundraising. Any questions? Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Lana. That was awesome. Very good information from my perspective of wanting to go. And I'm going to open up to the rest of the trustees. Any comments or questions from trustees? Ones in the room here, and then I'll go to the ones online. Trustee Barry?
As a new trustee, I'm not sure of all the enrollment of all the schools. So what's the enrollment of Hazel Ridge? And what are the teachers and what other staffs are there at the school?
Is it on? There we go. Thank you. So there's 65 students. It's a K-5 school. We have a half-time kindergarten teacher, grade 1-2 classroom teacher. Did you want the names?
No,
Yeah, there's just them out, yeah. And then a grade 1-2 classroom, a 2-3 class, a 4-5 class, and we have a music teacher of .25, and phys ed .4, and resource .25, and .1 literacy support, and then myself, .25, admin. We wear many hats at our school. We collaborate together.
Thanks, Lana. Any other questions from trustees in the room here? Trustee Pachkowski?
I don't have a question, just thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate the presentation. It was very good, thank you.
Any trustees online have a question for, that are calling in for Mrs. Garner? Lana, certainly on behalf of all of us, thank you for doing this. Again, the question that I always ask people is, how do you know it's what you're doing is working? You've provided some good information, so I don't have to ask you that question. Kudos to you for the work and for the information they're providing. Appreciate it. Kath?
I do want to make a comment that when I get a chance to come and visit Hazel Ridge School, the piece that I love is that the kid work is in the halls. I can walk through the hallway and I can see what the kids are writing about, and I can see the work that's around the whole entire building. So I appreciate that because it shows kids that they're working on their writing, and it gives them some chances to see what others are doing in their schools. So that's a great piece that maybe you don't know, and I wanted to just highlight for you.
So, Len, I'm going to give you something that you need to take 30 seconds to answer, okay? 30 seconds, and that's all you're going to get. So, you've got the ears of 9 trustees. How are things going at Hazel Ridge School? Is there anything that you need? 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Really? Anything? Really would like, and I know we've put in for wheelchair accessibility to our gym and into, so that would be in a wheelchair bathroom area. So those would be, that would be very beneficial. We've been requesting that. I know we've put in a request with Mr. Ryback, and he's been working on that too. So that would be something that I would appreciate having. And we always need extra. Is that more than 30?
No, I'm just... Thanks very much, Lana. No, that's what we wanted to hear. You had the chance. You had the ear of the 9 trustees. Good for you. Trustee Duma?
Are you still running the before and after program there at the school? It isn't. It's still being run. So it starts at what time in the morning?
Yeah, it starts at 6, and she's done at 8:45, and then she comes back at 3:30, and she goes till 6 again. She's fabulous. Mrs. Good is, she does a wonderful program. She's very creative, and the amount of space that she's got, we're very fortunate to have that collaboration with the Springfield, from Onola, that partnership there. So we're very fortunate that parents are very happy with that. Thank you for asking.
So again, Lana, thanks on behalf of the board. Oh, I'm sorry, Diane?
You did mention that you have no breathing recovery at your school, but it sounds to me like you're able to use the resource and our clinicians to kind of compensate for that. Okay.
Okay. Again, thanks, Lana. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming and taking the time with us tonight.
Thank you for listening, everyone. I appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to move on. We have the minutes from October the 19th. Be it resolved, the board adopt the October 19th board minutes. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Pachuski, seconded by trustee Harris. Questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Okay, 7 were in favor, 1 was opposed, and 1 abstained from the minutes. We have a superintendent's report at 6.1. Mrs. Timko, the floor is yours.
Thank you. A couple of things that I wanted to just highlight. It's always changing and it's really hard to keep up and keep current. As of Friday, this information, so I tend to put in my report between the beginning of the school year and Friday, October 29th, we had 4 positive cases in our schools. That is now 5. We had a case on the weekend on Sunday. We had notifications, so Enola School had a case. There were no contacts, no close contacts in the school, but we were notified of that, so that will be in the next report. We have begun some of the regular, again, the normal annual student vaccination clinics. We've started some of the COVID vaccination clinics. As promised, we have the schedule up on the school and the divisional websites, and we have been using School Messenger to communicate to families the day before the scheduled clinic so that they're reminded and aware of that. I've also attended 2 meetings with all the school divisions and the province and public health around, I guess, the upcoming impending, the unknown status of a COVID vaccination approval for 5 to 11-year-olds. It is currently underway for that vaccine to be approved and may be in place as early as the middle of November. It is important to note that there is no mature minor possibility for this age group and that all vaccinations would require parent consent. It's also equally important that school clinics is just one of many possible ways for families to get access to the COVID-19 vaccination. They made reference to pharmacies, to doctors' offices, to super site clinics, and to a number of other places and spaces, but that the school clinic program is one of those places for people to get their child vaccinated. This coming fall, we're doing parent-teacher conferences, which is a combo of in-person and virtual, so it is a parent choice as whether or not people can attend in person or virtually, so parents will have that information from their schools and can book accordingly. As always, I feel like this is a sentence that has to follow with everything we send out, as public health orders will allow. So if something should change and we have to shift back to virtual, then we will let people know as soon as we can. We also got word that our volleyball provincials, so we're kind of creeping up on the end of volleyball season, and they are going to attempt to have volleyball provincials under some modified guidelines. There will be some regional playdowns so that there is less travel and less potential for overnight. And they still will not allow spectators at the event. They will be live streamed for folks who would like to watch the volleyball provincials. We'll let you know if any of our Sunrise teams make provincials. Again, as Trustee Reed spoke about, that we are now able to collect for food banks and We Scare Hunger and Christmas hamper programs. So please keep your eyes and ears open for those up in the upcoming future newsletters from your schools. Christmas and holiday concerts and band concerts and drama productions are going to be virtual. So part of our difficulty is that we're not bringing additional public or parents or family into school when students are there. So we are still in the place where our Christmas and holiday concerts and all of those productions will be virtual because we can't have the spectators in the school at this time. Again, I say this and I feel a little like I'm a broken record, but I wake up in the morning and get to come to a really great set of schools and a fabulous set of communities to work in, because we are doing our very best to keep our distance and wash our hands and wear our masks and following all of the rules that we have to, even though it is very little fun. So I appreciate that from each and every person who's involved in our system. Unless there are questions, that's my report.
So Kath, just to confirm, so Christmas concerts and band concerts, drama productions, they can be live streamed. And so when you're saying virtual presentations, I'm assuming that we're talking about live streaming them. Is that correct?
And it may be live streamed, or it may be a recorded event that will be released at a certain time so that the kids can pre-record during the day. It wouldn't necessarily be that our concert is at 7 o'clock on this night and parents are dropping kids off. It might be that it's streamed during the school day, or that it's recorded and placed on the website so that parents aren't driving and sitting in the car while their kid performs.
So can we find that out then, Kath, for our schools as to that process as to what's going on? Because some may hold a regular concert and just the kids be in there and it be live streamed, or again, I don't know how it's all going to work out, but is there a way then that we can inform our trustees certainly about those concerts, Christmas band concerts, drama productions, about streamed or taped and when it's going to be presented? Can you look for that for us?
Absolutely. As we get closer to the Christmas season, we'll make sure that you have that information. I would absolutely check websites, and we've got a newsletter link for you, so we'll make sure you get that.
Perfect, thanks. Anybody else questions for Kathy? Anybody online? Okay, keep going, Kath.
Just the second document on the report, or in my superintendent's report, is that there's a draft reporting schedule. So each meeting I will bring that and highlight the pieces that we have checked off our list of things that we said we wanted to get this year. So you will see that updated every time that I bring, or every time we meet. You'll have the draft reporting schedule, and that will give you a bit of a highlight as to where we're at.
So I know I'm the one that's asked this question, and I don't know if you addressed this or not. School carryover. Did we address it, and was that on? Go ahead.
We wanted to make sure that we move that to our next meeting, so right now it's not checked off on your report, but we do have it flagged for our November 16th meeting.
Perfect, I remember that. Thanks, Kath. Any other questions for Kathy? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to Mr. Carlton, Secretary Treasurer's report.
Thanks, Trustee Magnan. I'll highlight a few things on my Secretary Treasurer's report, specifically doing operations this time. Starting with maintenance, I pride our maintenance department on being proactive. Generally speaking, I like to draw to the board's attention projects and exciting things going on, but it's also important to note sometimes things happen in our division that require some reactionary repairs, and there was a couple of pretty major instances this week. We sustained a leak in the roof of I believe it's a portable classroom in the southwest corner of SCI. It was kind of one of those sneaky leaks that was going in between the drywall and the walls, and had been there for a while and actually ended up causing some pretty significant damage to that portable classroom. So we've had insurance adjusters out there to have a look. There's some things like mold and some repairs required to the flooring. Once they do an assessment of the value of the damages, we'll bring that back to the board just for informational purposes, but that's likely going to lead to an insurance claim. And the other piece you'll notice, I have the main sewer line that's going into Springfield Middle School. Well, we're certainly not bringing sewer into the school. It's going obviously out of the school. Had a pretty significant crack last week and needed to be repaired. Our maintenance department is on the ball and got somebody out there as quick as possible. Unfortunately, it did lead to the sewer line being shut down. They started as early as they could in the morning and got to it finally by noon. But when something like that happens, we do get some porta potties out there for the children to make sure that there's facilities for them to use. So they did jump on that very quickly, got it all fixed up. It was fixed up on Friday, so they're good to go now. ICT, a couple of things of note. We've got a solution for I mentioned a couple of times, the multi-factor authentication that our insurance company is providing for our computer systems, or requesting, pardon me, for our computer systems. We have a solution for that. low-cost solution. We'll be easily able to implement that by January, so we'll be in compliance with what the insurance company is looking for. The other kind of interesting thing that's going on, we don't necessarily want to start thinking about this just yet, but Bill 64 gone by the wayside. We will have an election coming up next fall, and our SEO has been heavily involved with our IT department in beginning the work on creating a voting list, not just for the upcoming October election, but creating a solution and a database that will be sustainable long-term. We have historically relied on RMs and sharing some information to create our voting list. Our SEO is really taking some initiative and going to work with our IT department to create a database that will be for the division specifically, and I think it will make our elections streamlined and a lot easier to handle going forward. So they're doing some good work between Gordon and Crystal there. Transportation, first of all, bad news. I think you've probably all seen some emails flying around that we knew this was coming. We have experienced some fairly significant driver shortages. The week of October 18th, we had only two routes we had to cancel. The week of the 25th, that expanded up to about 7, and it's been carrying on a little bit this week as well when we have a driver call in sick in the morning. We simply haven't got spares or standby drivers to take those routes, and we're doing everything we can, and I really commend Jason. It's been a pretty stressful time for him. We're doing everything we can to make sure those routes continue to run. We recognize the impact on our families when we can't provide transportation to school. So we are doing everything we can to try and keep those buses going up and down the road. So that's kind of the bad news piece. The good news is we've got some training sessions upcoming and hope to start to expand our roster of drivers. It takes a while from application to writing a written test with MPI to doing a road test, and there's a component of in-house training. We deliver some training programs that need to be done before a driver can receive a school bus endorsement on their driver's license. So there's a bit of a lag time from application to having them licensed and getting them on the road, but we're getting close. We've got 3 drivers looking at doing some road tests, and then once they do a test with one of our drivers, we can pretty much get them out, and then a few more scheduled to start this week. So there's starting to be a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, and thanks to Jason and Jason in HR as well for some of the recruitment strategies they've been using around trying to attract some new bus drivers. It's finally starting to pay some fruit. And then finally into finance, I did provide a bit of an update on RetroPay in camera. Our audit is now complete, and all the required documentation sent into the province at the end of last week. We've started now the process of this school year, and I believe our chair, Trustee Nicol, will provide an update later on in this agenda. Starting to review finance materials. We had a meeting the 21st of October. We'll have another one coming up this Thursday, actually, to review September financials. And then our finance committee or finance department will be heavily involved in budgeting. That's the next big hurdle for us as a finance department. We started the process a bit last week, and now we're heavily burying our heads in spreadsheets for the next little bit. So that is my report, and I'll happily take any questions.
Thanks, Scott. Anything, Trustee Duma?
2 questions. Could you explain the Zonar hardware upgrade of in-bus equipment? What does that involve?
So Zonar is the GPS units that exist on our buses. We have them on all our fleet, so that if you've ever been over to transportation, you can see the buses move on the map on the screen. We had contemplated and are still looking at, although other priorities have sort of caused a bit of a delay there, implementing a parent application. There are opportunities to have an application on phone or on computer where parents can see where the buses are, which we think would be helpful for our students. In terms of waiting outside when it's minus 30, you can see when the bus is approaching. There's some gaps in that. It's reliant on cell service and things like that, but we still think it's worthwhile implementing. In order to do that, we did have to upgrade the Zonar units in the buses as they exist now to be able to utilize that application. So we started the process of doing that.
So the bus has to physically be brought into the shop? and each and every bus is brought in for a certain amount of time in the shop to get this done? It's not remote, right?
Correct. It does have to be brought into the shop, which is why it's a bit of a time to change the oil. The buses come in generally every 60 to 90 days for an inspection and oil change and things like that anyway. So as they come in, we're doing them. We're not making special trips to swap these out.
And just in terms of the final audit, that's going to be posted on our website on the financial section, like it has been in the past, right?
Yep, correct. I did receive the final documents from M&P on Friday and actually just sent them to Stacy today to update on our website. So that should be up there as soon as Stacy, I'm looking at it tomorrow. Oh, it's done? Okay, should be up there today then, yep.
Anyone else? Questions for Scott? Trustee Barry?
Just getting back to transportation, I see other school divisions are advertising for bus drivers. Are we competitive with other school divisions, or just maybe that's a point of question, or maybe we're in the low side? I'm not really sure.
You know what, that's actually a really good question, Trustee Barry. I'm not sure about pay structures for other divisions. I'll take a look at that and I'll have to get back to you on that. I know, you know, in terms of some of the challenges we're facing in terms of shortages are also being faced by other divisions as well.
Trustee Barry, I can tell you that I was talking to in Lake School Division Board Chair. Come on, who's telling me that was his name? Alan Campbell, there we go. I was talking to Alan Campbell because Alan is the transportation supervisor for Lord Selkirk, and he says that, because I was asking the same question, Art, is that are other school divisions doing it? He says that their concerns are larger than ours. And the transportation supervisors across the province, like for instance the ones that are close to each other, they're talking to each other. And so you know what, just from Alan Campbell's point of view, yeah, do you know what, there's difficulties in the same situation that we're in. They're having to cancel runs. Anyone else? Anyone online ask a question? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on. Thanks very much, Scott. Board business. I think, Scott, you've got information, COVID costs. Is there anything that you wanted to add briefly to it?
Yeah, my report is there, similar to what I've seen in past meetings. I just wanted to point out on the report, you know, we're trending at this point to spend substantially less than we have last year, you know, which is to be expected. I guess the other piece I do want to point out, we had, in relation to the funding we'll receive this year in the first paragraph. So there's two funds. There's a Safe Schools Fund that's about $908,000. There's also a Learning Recovery Fund for $123,000. We have and we're required to submit a proposal on how we would intend to spend that money, and that had to be submitted to the province last week. So we have done so. My apologies, we didn't get it up on the ESB. I have now emailed it to all trustees, and it is on ESB as well. So I'm not sure if it's fair to ask for any questions on that tonight, but please review when you have an opportunity and let me know if there's any questions on that.
Thanks, Scott. Any questions on COVID costs from any trustees? Any trustees online? Okay, thanks, Scott, for the information. Our decision-making matrix, so of course, trustees, we just went through a learning session and did some work on it. Actually, Trustee Pachakowski did a fair bit of work with regard to the matrix and taking the information. Did you want to add anything, Trustee Pachakowski?
No, you covered it off. The board did some really good work last week on the 28th of October. We had some really good discussion, and looking forward to some more discussion soon, hopefully, and maybe finally get to a landing place with our matrix. So, good work to the board.
Okay, so that's for information. 8.3 is our monthly enrollment. Kathy, this is you holding somewhere just under 4,700 students. Kath, anything you want to add?
Maybe just to put that up on the screen for folks who are viewing or for a recording to see. It is fairly stable, so there are no surprises kind of in terms of ups or downs on our enrollment, and just we track that each month at the end of every month. I will note that this is on October 28th because of the time that I need to prepare for board meetings. And I will go back and do that and perhaps adjust it to the 31st so that we're to the end of the month, was the only thing I wanted to draw attention to.
Questions from anybody? Okay, we'll move on. Thanks very much, Kathy. We've asked you for that, so thank you. We have a few committee reports. Our first one is our policy committee, and I'm going to turn it over to our policy chair, Chair Harris.
So we brought a motion forward.
Me, sorry, my bad.
We brought a motion forward based on our last policy meeting with regards to policy number 12. We're recommending that we add the word trustees as part of the scope of that policy so that trustees are held to the same standard as the rest of our staff.
So I'm going to say we have a motion on the floor, be it resolved that the board add the word trustees to section 12.2 of the policy 12. The first sentence of the policy should now read, this policy applies to all trustees, staff, students, and independent contractors. This brings similar wordings as seen in the procedure ACR, respect for human diversity. It's going to be moved by Trustee Harris, and it's going to be seconded by Trustee Reed. Any questions then to this motion?
Yeah, I thought this is only a notice of motion, which means it'll be voted on next meeting.
No, we brought the notice of motion last time.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
But thanks for checking with us, Don. But Trustee Harris did bring the notice of motion last time. Any questions? Trustee Duma?
The only thing I would say is that for clarity to the board, because I'm not sure how many trustees go back in to dig policy 12 up and look at it, we have tried to have policy changes so that you actually have in front of you the statement from the policy, and then it's added or highlighted in yellow or red to make people see where the difference is. So the original 12.2 stated, this policy applies to all staff, students, and independent contractors. And then it goes on to say other things in that paragraph, like there's more than just that sentence, there's more in the paragraph, which I think helps to add to informing the board, because one of the things with these policy reviews is the board also needs to take a look at it and look at it themselves, not just the policy committee. So I just think it would help for our own, to add into our learning. This is a great snapshot to throw at us and say, here's what the policy states. So this would actually be inserting the word trustees into that policy on that paragraph 12.2. So I just think it would be nicer if it was a little bit richer, the information coming to us. Other than that, I just wanted to add that.
Trustee Harris?
Yes, in the past, we have included the original and a marked up document, and I'm not sure why it wasn't here today. We'll make sure that happens in the future.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. And so to move forward, that's good. As far as our motion that's on the floor, any other questions to this motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. So it's passed 8-1. Thank you. Trustee Harris, is there anything else from the policy committee that you want to update people on, or am I jumping the gun? No. Is there anything else from the policy committee that you want to bring forward?
No, we have another meeting the second Thursday of November. No, we've moved that to Friday because of Remembrance Day. Well, we moved it to another day, whatever day it was.
Okay. Thank you. That's 8.4 policy. 8.5 Finance Committee update. I'm going to turn it over to you, Trustee Chair Nicol.
Okay, I just helping out Trustee Harris. It is the 12th is the policy day after the 11th. We had a meeting on October the 21st, and we only went up to the end of August, so we are trying to get the information to you every month, so therefore that we schedule an extra meeting on November the 4th so that when we have the meeting then in December, you'll be able to get the October so it's only 1 month, so we schedule an extra meeting in November to get us caught up so that we're only 1 month behind, which is normal.
Thanks, Trustee Nichol. So I see there's two motions or a few motions that are here. First motion, be resolved that the board receive the May 2021 check register, total amount of $3,966,081, reviewed on June 23rd by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. Trustee Nichol, are you moving this?
Yes, I am.
Moved by Trustee Nichol, seconded by Trustee Reed. Comments to this? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Okay, so it passed 8-1, thank you. I see, Trustee Nichol, that you have another motion here. Be it resolved that the board receive the June 2021 check register with the total amount of checks as $7,342,992.77, reviewed on October 21st by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. Trustee Nichol, are you moving this motion?
Yes, I am.
And it's seconded by Trustee Harris. Thank you. Any questions to this motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 8-1, thank you. I see, Trustee Nichol, that you have another one. Be it resolved that the board receive the July 2021 check register with a total amount of checks issued at $2,514,098.37, reviewed on October the 21st by the Finance Committee for information. Trustee Nichol, are you moving this?
Yes, I am.
Moved by Trustee Nichol, seconded by Trustee Harris. Any comments, questions? Trustee Duma?
The only comment I'm going to make is that the check register motion, the check register item that we have in front of us, I would really like to see that item dated with the signatures on it. That's why I'm not voting in favor of it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 7-2. You have another one, Trustee Nichol. Be it resolved that the board receive the August 2021 check register with a total amount of checks issued at $2,308,251.69, reviewed on October the 21st by the Finance Committee for information. Trustee Nichol, are you moving this?
Yes, I am.
Seconded by Trustee Reed. Comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 7-2. Thank you. So, Trustee Nichol, you hear what Trustee Duma has asked. It's something then the Finance Committee can go ahead and take a look at and see where you get to. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. So 8.10 is the Sunrise Education Foundation Committee update, and I'm going to ask Trustee Duma. I think Diane, that you're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this.
Well, just to let everybody know that the committee did meet on the 27th of October. We are wanting to move ahead with getting this declaration amendment and trust brought to finality with the lawyer. We were hoping to have the final document for the board today, having had it looked at by the lawyer. There's one section that we'd like the lawyer to look at, which is 2.01. So we thought, let's give you this information, give you time to look at it, read it, think about it, and hopefully by the next board meeting we can make a motion to have it go forward with a motion from the board. So just if there's any questions for the committee, feel free to ask.
Thanks, 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 trustee Duma. Scott?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have a chance to talk to you, trustee Duma, but for the committee, I did have a chance to speak to legal today. So I will have an update. We could probably do this offline, but we probably could schedule another meeting. Coming up soon, I did talk about the revisions we're looking for, and there might be some time around that, but I can at least fill the committee in on how the discussion went.
So you received you received some information about the Education Foundation, some information. There is another document. The committee does need to meet again, but again, if anybody wants some information, certainly talk to Trustee Duma. She has a pretty good handle on it, and we've kind of given her the quasi being in charge of our committee to see us to move us along. So if there are any questions, certainly online or offline, you can direct them to Trustee Duma. So 9.0 is professional development for information and reports. There are none. Financial monitoring report. So be it resolved that the board adopt the financial monitoring report for the months end of July and August 2021, reviewed by the Finance Committee on October the 21st. Don, I'm assuming then you're moving this financial monitoring report?
Yes, I am.
And we're seconded by Trustee Reed. Any questions to the financial monitoring report? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. So it passed 8-1. Thank you. It's got board correspondence. So you've seen some correspondence from myself going back to Mrs. William Hayward with regard to the work that we're doing. We all are a reminder that we've asked Trustee Nickel to come and give us some more information with regard to the boundary review, and he's going to go ahead and do this at our next meeting in November. There's other correspondence that is on there. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick one. With regard to the RM of Springfield and requesting a meeting to discuss with their council some of the major developments ongoing in the area. Their CAO, Colleen Draper, did come back with some suggested dates. I believe I sent that out to trustees, just waiting for some feedback from our trustees, and then we'll firm that up. So just a reminder to double check for that email and look at those dates, and I'll get back to Colleen with some potential times as soon as we can.
So my apologies, Scott. I don't think that I'm one of them that's got back to you, but I do believe that it's important for the local trustees to get that information back so we don't wait any longer about trying to get together. And Scott, if you don't hear from all of us, move forward with the people that you hear from and put that meeting through, but we do want to get that meeting done as soon as possible. Thanks, Scott. Nice to know information, certainly that's in there. That's good to see. We have our board upcoming meetings, November 16th to 27th and December the 7th. So a reminder that MSBA at the fall general meeting. Stacy, is there anything that people have to do? So Stacy, is there anything that trustees need to do with you? Okay. So Stacy is saying a reminder that if you're going to the MSBA, make sure you talk to Stacy, and Stacy will make those arrangements for you. But please get to Stacy. If Stacy doesn't hear from you, she's obviously not registering you. Press release, questions from the public. Scott, are there any questions from the public?
Just checking my email, Mr. Chair, and I see nothing.
Okay. Trustee Pachikowski, we do not have to move back into in-camera? Okay. So there are two motions that are in camera. Thanks, Stacy, that you've got them up here for us. One of the motions is be it resolved that the board accept the letter of resignation retirement from the assistant superintendent effective April 29th. We have to make a motion. What happens if we don't motion it? I'm just kidding. Motion by Trustee Pachikowski, seconded by Trustee Harris. I guess we have to vote on this. What happens if I vote no? What's that? Sorry, comments?
Just on behalf of myself and the board, I think it's unfortunate to hear the news that you're going to be leaving us, but appreciate the opportunity to work with you over the last few years, and wish you the best of luck in whatever you take on next.
We still haven't voted yet, so, we have to vote. Okay, any other comments? This is one motion I want to vote no to, but it's probably tacky to vote no to it. I'm just kidding you, Jackie. All right, call the question. We'll vote. So surprisingly, it passed at 9-0. Again, I think that all of us say the same thing, Jackie. Your service to us over the years has been from Hazel Ridge School to Dugald to Powerview to coming into the division office. It's been exemplary. Thank you very much. And again, you're not going right away, so we'll deal with that afterwards. And there's another motion from in camera. Be it resolved that the board approve the proposed salary adjustment for the period of 2018 to 2021 to the Secretary-Treasurer of Sunrise School Division as proposed. A moved by Trustee Fachikowski, seconded by
I'll second it.
Trustee Nichol. Any comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 9-0. Thank you. And I think that that's adjournment, is it not? So I think what I've been told is that the board chair doesn't need to go ahead and make a motion. The board can say that there's nothing else for us to work on, and so we're adjourned. So it is 8:16. We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you to the crew around here. Have a safe ride home. Thanks to the people online.